Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another Fallout 4 Mods Weekly. This is the series where we take a look at some of the really cool and interesting mods that have come out during the week, just in case any of you missed some of the individual videos that came out, breaking down some of these really notable releases, along with a few that didn't make their own individual videos. Now, before we begin, it has been a crazy week for Fallout 4 mods. There have been so many releases. It's really feast or famine on the Nexus. Some weeks there are nothing, and other weeks we have a ton of mods. So many that I can't include them all in one Mods Weekly. So some of these are going to have to carry over to next week, and hopefully we don't have yet another week that pops off, or else I'm going to get really behind. Either way, if you're looking forward to a specific mod and it doesn't appear on this video, stay tuned. It may be in next week's Mods Weekly. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and begin with our first mod. And the first mod we're checking out this week is Valkyrie Armor by Galac-Varangian Studios. Now this armor is actually going to be a sneak peek of an upcoming armor set that will be part of the expansion for the Galactic Mercs and Music mod. So the armor itself is actually going to be a medieval set of Knights armor, which is pretty interesting because we've been getting a bunch of medieval armor mods lately on the Fallout 4 Nexus. And this thing is super cool. It's very ornate and comes with a lot of really cool features. It's not going to be added to the level list, as this is a pretty unique set of armor. You're going to be crafting it at the chemistry station. And if you take it to the armor's workbench, you actually get a good bit of options, with just a couple of add-ons as well as some color variety that you can choose. Now, while a medieval suit of armor doesn't seem very lore-friendly for Fallout 4, apparently it's going to have a pretty big role in the lore for the Galactic lore expansion. So, if you're not familiar with Galactic, it adds a ton of new armors along with a new faction, and this set of armor is going to be important to the history of said faction. So I'm sure they're going to tie it together very nicely, and it's going to add a really cool medieval set of armor for your characters to obtain at some point in that story, which is pretty neat. At this point, we have enough medieval sets of armor for Fallout 4 that I think somebody could make their very own faction of knights, or at the very least, people who think they are knights, trying to crusade the wastelands and rid it of the filth and different mutants. And I think that would be a pretty cool mod in and of itself. So, if you want to try this mod out for yourself, it will be linked down in the description below, along with any mod featured in this video. Now, the next mod we're checking out is the M84 FlashBang by Toounx, and this is a really interesting grenade mod. This is going to add flashbang grenades into the game, and we've seen that before in Fallout. Now, typically with a Fallout flashbang mod, it's just a flash of light that will blind your character and any nearby NPCs for a short amount of time, but this one goes a step further and will actually paralyze and apply vertigo to many of the humanoid enemies in the game, as well as other biological creatures. This stunning vertigo effect is actually fully animated by the author of the mod, which is really cool. You can actually see the flashbang taking effect on your enemies, which just helps with the immersion and realism, and it helps you know that it's actually working. With something as simple as a flashing white effect, it would be hard to tell if the enemies are actually being flashbanged, but now you definitely know. Overall, this flashbang is going to affect more than 20 different creature types in the game, and they're actually going to be as follows. It's going to affect humans, synths, super mutants, feral ghouls, deathclaws, gator claws, gulpers, mirelurks, mirelurk kings, mole rats, rad rats, FEV hounds, rad stags, rad scorpions, yaoguais, bloodworms, fog crawlers, ant swarms, and anglers. Now, the animations are only really going to affect the humanoid of those NPCs. The other ones, like ant swarms, are just going to have the effect applied to them and will stun them as well as blind them temporarily. Either way, though, this makes for a really cool immersive flashbang, and I really like the effect that it provides. It's super immersive, super cool, and definitely worth giving a shot if you want to add a new type of grenade, specifically a utility grenade, into your Fallout 4 load order. Up next, we have the MWAUG by Samus Aran. Specifically, this is going to be the Modern Warfare 2019 edition of the AUG, complete with all of its different ammo conversions and a lot of the customization options available in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. Now, this is actually Samus Aran's first ever mod, and it is an incredible one at that. If you saw the breakdown video that I released for the AUG earlier in the week, you'll know that I am a huge fan of this weapon, and specifically this mod. It's done very well. It has a bunch of customization options, beautiful custom animations. Not just a port from COD, but actually custom animations, which is always nice to add a bit of flavor and character to the weapon, as well as a couple of unique skins and different attachments to make a nice, wonderful, complete mod package. If you're a fan of the AUG, I highly recommend you try this one out. There are many AUG options out there, there, and now we have enough for you to be able to pick and choose exactly what you want from an AUG mod, and this is definitely a contender. There's a lot of really cool stuff available here. One thing I really like about this weapon is the sound design, so I'll go ahead and let that play as well as the reload animation so you can see it for yourself and then judge it based on its own merit. So yeah, that is the Modern Warfare AUG by Samus Aran. I really like this one. Not to mention, it does come with level-less integration. It'll start spawning around level 28. Legendary variants will spawn after level 30, which again, I like level-less integration. Helps to complete the mod and really cement it in universe. So if you're a fan of the AUG, I highly recommend you try this one out. Speaking of weapons, we now have the Tesla Heavy Autocannon by Newermind43 and Captain-Ultima. Now, typically when you hear those authors' names, you're going to be looking at a new set of power armor, but not this time. Now we have a brand new heavy energy weapon, and this thing is super cool. Again, this is another mod that as soon as it dropped, I fell in love with it immediately. This thing is really interesting, unique, and very neat. It's a beautiful model to look at, and it has a function that's very unique to other weapons in the game. The best thing that you can relate it to would be the Tesla gun from the Automatron DLC, as it is going to fire a Tesla arc as its projectile, but it's going to shoot much faster, much like that of a Gatling gun. So essentially, if you were to combine the Gatling laser and the Tesla gun, you create the Tesla Heavy Autocannon from this mod. This mod does not come with custom animations. It actually uses the Gatling laser animations, and I think they fit just fine, so that's not a downside for me whatsoever. It also does not have level-less integration, as this is a pretty unique heavy weapon, so instead, there will be one version of it that you can find out in the world. Specifically, you can find this thing over at the National Guard Training Yard. Head over to the back lockup, and you will find it behind the terminal locked door, and that is going to be the one and only variant of this weapon that you can find out in the world. So, cherish it. Seriously though, this is a really wonderful weapon and a super cool one to be used as a heavy weapon for the player character. Yet another mod that I highly recommend you try for yourself. Again, all links will be down in the description below. Now, speaking of heavy weapons, we have the Salvaged Sentrybot weapon by the 6th Messenger. This is going to add another heavy weapon into Fallout 4. Specifically, this is going to be the arm of the Sentrybots that you can rip off and use as a weapon for your character, which is pretty neat. And it's not as simple as just taking it off of the Sentrybot like you might to a Sentinel in Halo, but instead you actually get the salvaged pieces off of the Sentrybots, take it over to a chemistry station where then you can craft your very own microgun, or alternatively a power drill. So, the microgun is going to function similar to that of a minigun, except you will not have a charge time. This thing will fire right off the bat, and it has a very high fire rate. Or alternatively, you can craft yourself a power drill, which is going to function like a melee weapon, which is very interesting. You're going to hold it and use it similar to a minigun, except, like I said, it is a melee weapon. So get close to an enemy, and it will start to take effect. These weapons actually do have a good bit of customization over at the weapons workbench, where you can change out the different ammo types, different barrels, and different receiver to get your perfect match of fire rate to damage ratio to make the perfect microgun for your character. So you can feel free to suit this thing to your playstyle and then have loads of fun, as this thing just slings out lead faster than most weapons in the game, especially if you cater to the fire rate side of the different attachments. Another really cool, unique weapon by the 6th Messenger. Highly recommend checking this one out as a new lore-friendly heavy weapon. And then finally, we actually have one more heavy weapon, at least sort of, and that is the GM6 Lynx by Adshield. This is going to be a Hungarian anti-materiel rifle chambered in 50 caliber. So technically not a heavy weapon in terms of the perks that it uses, but definitely a very large rifle that slings out a lot of damage. So for those of you not familiar with the GM6 Lynx, this is going to be a bullpup 50 caliber sniper rifle that actually has a reciprocating barrel as part of the long recoil system. This is definitely going to be a little bit more catered toward a tactical modern load order, as it features a lot of newer modern sights and attachments, though there are a good bit of them, which allows for a lot of customization options. This weapon will not be added to the level list, as it is quite heavy and quite unique. Instead, there will be one variant out in the world that you can actually find over at the crash of the Northern Star ship. Alternatively, you can craft it at the chemistry station if you have high enough perks as well as enough supplies to make it. This is going to be a complete weapon mod package with custom animations and models and textures, as well as, again, a lot of customization options. And of course, some different camos and paint jobs for you to apply at the weapons workbench. This weapon is definitely intended to be used in the late game, given that it slings out tons and tons of damage with a base damage of 120 without perks or attachments, and you can even get this thing up to about 720 if you get all of the attachments and the highest rifleman perk. So again, this thing is a very, very heavy rifle. But if that sounds like something you need in your game, I highly recommend you try it out, as this weapon is a lot of fun. It has very beautiful animations, and this is just a unique rifle that's fun to experience in Fallout 4. So again, highly recommend this one. Try it out for yourself. Links will be down in the description below for PC as well as Xbox if they are available. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you found some new mods to add to your load order. If you did, I hope you enjoy them. And hey, I hope you enjoyed the video as well. If you did, don't forget to drop a rating, subscribe if you haven't already for more videos just like this, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace! And really quick, I'd like to make a shout out to all of our patrons. Your donations are greatly appreciated and really help to support the channel and videos just like this one. So again, thank you!